Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is Al 24 Midnight News Edition coming to you live from the capital Algiers, and these are tonight's headlines. While giving priority to diplomatic solutions, ECOWAS insists once again on restoring constitutional order in Niger by any means, and U.S. State Department announces the arrival of Washington's ambassador to Niamey next week. After raising the tension sparked the violent clashes in the Libyan capital Tripoli, 444th Brigade commander arrived at his camp headquarters and that the Dbeiba stresses not to return to any kind of fighting. And a visit that is the first of its kind in years by the Iranian foreign minister to Saudi Arabia, an affirmation of a common desire to enhance confidence and expand the scope of cooperation. Russian defense announces the implementation of a successful attack targeting American armored vehicles in Donetsk, and Kiev proclaims more gains in its counterattack on the southeastern front. Hello again and welcome. First, the Egyptian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Sameh Shoukry, received the Algerian ambassador to Cairo and permanent delegate to the League of Arab States, Mr. Abdelhamid Shbira, who handed him a handwritten letter addressed to Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on behalf of the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune. The Egyptian minister expressed his determination to continue strengthening cooperation between Algeria and Egypt and to enhance political consultation at different levels. For his part, the Algerian diplomat mentioned Algeria's determination to promote cooperation, particularly in the fields of investment, partnership and trade, by exploiting the great potential in Algeria and Egypt. Now to Niger's file. Defense chiefs from West African bloc ECOWAS on Thursday began a two-day meeting to discuss their response to the crisis in Niger. The West African bloc said it stands ready to interfere militarily in the event of failure of diplomatic efforts to reverse the coup in Niger. The details of a standby force are to be discussed by the ECOWAS. Also, the ECOWAS Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace, Security, Abdel Fattah Moussa, said that the military council that deposed President Mohamed Bazoum on July 26th of playing cat and mouse with the bloc by refusing meet with envoys and seeking justification for the takeover. All members states expect those under military rule, and Cape Verde are ready to participate in the standby force. ECOWAS Commissioner Abdel Fattah Moussa said on Thursday in a speech during the opening of ECOWAS meeting in Accra. He reiterated that the door of diplomacy is still open.
They are pretending, that, now they are ready for talks. But even as they are telling us that they are ready for talks, they are still seeking reasons to let no one be in doubt that if everything else fails, the valiant forces of West Africa, both the militaries available, constitutional order will be restored in the country. And this meeting today bears testimony to that.
The same line of thought, Dominic Nitiwol, the defense minister of Ghana, stated that military coup organizers in Niger had so far restated all efforts to find a peaceful solution to the conflict.
What they forget is that ECOWAS is a rules-based organization. We have our protocols, we have our norms, and we are ready to protect them. That's why the heads of state are saying, if push comes to shove, we are going into Niger with our own contingent owned equipment.
Also, the ECOWAS Group's Commissioner for Political Affairs, Peace and Security reaffirmed that organization is prepared to defend and uphold the norms and procedures that are in place.
You will put in place a plan to ensure that the standby force is activated and that democracy will be restored in Niger. If presidential guards in Guinea and Niger, I'll use the word, take hostage their president.
The U.S. State Department said that the new U.S. ambassador to Niger, Kathleen Fitz, will travel to Niamey, indicating Washington's continued involvement in efforts to discuss the situation there. A U.S. official said an ambassador is expected to arrive in Niger later this week. He added that there were no plans for her to present her credentials to the coup leaders, explaining that this was not necessary for working at the embassy. The U.S. official confirmed that the new ambassador will go to Niger to lead the mission and coordinate the efforts of the U.S. government at this critical time. Now to a different topic. A Libyan commander whose detention triggered the worst fighting in the capital Tripoli in decades, during which 55 people were killed and 146 wounded, was handed over to a neutral party on Wednesday at a time when Prime Minister Abdul Hamid al-Dbeiba warned that the government will take severe measures against those who violate the ceasefire in the country. More in this report.
Prime Minister of the Libyan Government of National Unity, Abdul Hamid al-Dbeiba, warned Thursday that he would not tolerate any further clashes, reaffirming that the government will take severe measures against those who violate the ceasefire. This came following the bloodiest bout of fighting that rocked Tripoli this year, killing at least 55 people and injuring a dozen of others.
I tell you that if they are not calmed down and they are not satisfied with a conciliatory solution, as he is one of your sons, there will be other decisions regarding them. What is going on? Every day they cause trouble on the streets. Every day causes a war. Every day people are terrorized. People's lives are not a game. There will be other measures against them. We have to be harsh.
Prime Minister Dbeiba made the statements at a meeting with Souk al-Jum'a elders and dignitaries who ended the armed clashes between the Special Deterrence Force and the 444 Brigade in Tripoli.
The issue is very bad, but we, over the past years, have become accustomed to such things. We are used to the sound of clashes, but touching civilians is forbidden. It is forbidden carrying a gun and firing in the streets and at people.
Dbeiba's statements came as Mahmoud Hamza, a commander from the powerful 444 Brigade who was captured by the Special Deterrence Force, was handed over late on Tuesday to a third faction, the Stabilization Support Apparatus, under a deal brokered by the city elders.
Still in Tripoli, on Thursday, the African Union expressed its deep concern over the bloody clashes that erupted this week in Libya, calling for the continuation of reconciliation efforts. The African Union Commission said in a statement that its chairperson Moussa Faki is following with great concern the developments in the security situation in Tripoli, adding that he urges all concerned parties and all military, political and social actors to put an immediate end to all hostilities. Mauritanian President Mohammed Ould Sheikh Al Ghazouani has ordered the opening of an investigation to find out the reasons behind the lack of drinking water in the capital Nouakchott. The Mauritanian Ministry of Water and Sanitation said in a statement that Ould Al Ghazouani's decision came after his visit to the facilities of Adfout Sahili. Ould Al Ghazouani stresses the need to find urgent solutions to alleviate the water crisis that Nouakchott has been suffering from for days. In Africa, still, Ethiopia's former ambassador to China said that Ethiopia is looking forward to joining the BRICS group and that it is in a good position to join the 5 major emerging economies in the world, namely Russia, China, India, Brazil, and South Africa, and other countries. In an interview with the China Global Television Network, the former ambassador added that Ethiopia, along with more than 20 other countries, had expressed interest in joining the BRICS group, highlighting the group's attractiveness to countries of the global south and the important role it plays in global governance.
Ethiopia, along with other 2 dozens of countries, have shown interest to join BRICS. And it clearly shows the significance and the importance of BRICS and China. Ethiopia with other African countries, as well as countries in global south, would like to see reform of United Nations, reform of the financial institutions. In that regard, again, working with BRICS is clearly is a very important out of the global share of GDP is within BRICS. It's growing and our economy is growing. So Ethiopia provides also ample opportunities for BRIC members to do business, economic business, investment business, trade business with Ethiopia.
Out of the continent to the Middle East, 1 Palestinian was killed and 2 others were injured on Thursday by Zionist forces bullets after a military raid in the occupied West Bank city of Jenin. The Ministry of Health said in a statement that Mustafa al-Kastuni, 32, was killed after he was shot by the Zionist gunfire in the head. In addition to that, a female Palestinian who was working as a nurse was also shot by Zionist forces, and according to local sources, the Zionist occupation blew up al-Kastuni's house while he was inside during a raid.
We looked and we saw that they blew up the house in seconds. The stairs area was packed with soldiers and also the buildings nearby. They blew up our house. I wanted to go through the rubble, but I couldn't. The young man helped me to go through. I was looking for Abu Ali, but they said he wasn't there with them. I asked them to check under the rubble and they agreed. After they did, they told me he died.
We were working at the bakery at around 6 a.m. when Zionists special full military uniform but in civilian vehicles entered and besieged the bakery and the house above it. And they took all the workers outside. Around 10 workers were sitting outside the bakery. They started shooting randomly at the house, without even notifying the people inside the house or ask anyone to turn themselves in.
Saudi Arabia hopes to see Iran's President Ibrahim Raisi visit the kingdom following an investigation or an invitation from King Salman bin Abdulaziz. Saudi Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan said in a press conference with his Iranian counterpart Prince Faisal, adding that the country's corresponding ambassadors will start in their positions in their respective embassies after the reopening. Iran's Foreign Minister Hussein Amir Abdullahian has confirmed that Raisi will visit Saudi Arabia anytime soon. He said that talks with Saudi Arabia have been successful and both parties have agreed to work together and find immediate solutions to pressing issues in the region.
Our meeting comes as an extension of the steps taken to resume diplomatic relations and what it represents as a milestone in the history of the 2 countries and the path of regional security. It confirms the sincereness and seriousness of the parties to execute the bills of the agreement that benefits both countries and their people, and thus through promoting trust and strengthening cooperation and regional security. In the context of implementing the agreement, resumed their missions. The resumption of the tasks of the Saudis' ambassador to Tehran and Iran's ambassador to Riyadh comes as another step to improve the relation between the 2 countries and proves that the kingdom aspires to receive His Excellency the President Ibrahim Raisi based on the invitation of the custodian of the 2 holy mosques, the King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud.
Thank God, today we see that the relations between the 2 countries are moving in the right direction. The 2 countries are willing to expand and strengthen cooperation in all fields.
Lebanese Prime Minister Najib Mikati said that Lebanon's failure to approve a series of crucial economic laws to put the economy back to the track threatens the country's economic stability. Mikati confirmed after his meeting with Lebanese Parliament Speaker Nabih Berri at the Parliament's headquarters that Beirut has reached a difficult stage with transformation of its economy into a cash economy, which will expose Lebanon to many risks in the event that the bank restructuring law is not approved.
Today, we have reached a very difficult stage, and our economy is becoming cash-based. And this cash-based economy will expose Lebanon to many risks if a law for recovering and restructuring of banks is not passed. It is necessary to restore a normal banking life so that we can get out of this crisis. Otherwise, we will go from one crisis to another, and the situation is very difficult. Oh God, I have spoken several times and I say it again. Oh my God, I have informed the situation is very difficult. And if we don't reach a solution, let everyone bear their responsibilities.
Within the same country, dozens of Lebanese depositors protested today before the parliament rejecting the proposal of the Capital Control Act, which many feared would further restrict their savings. More in this report.
For nearly 4 years, the economic deadlock and political crisis remain the same in Lebanon. It's not the first time protesters gather before the Lebanese parliament to block sessions. This time, parliamentarians were supposed to vote on the Capital Control Act, which many fear would limit depositor savings that are trapped in banks.
We are against the capital control law forever, because we consider that we are the masters of ourselves. We do not care whether there is a law or not. We will go to the bank and withdraw our money by force.
Our money is fading away. Our money is transferred from an account to another. This is called theft. This isn't an economic or financial crisis. This is the theft of the century. They need to admit it and to find a solution to give people their money.
Most depositors lost access to their savings after banks in the country made risky investments by buying Lebanese treasury bills.
People's money was stolen. This is our concern. Other than that, we will look for strategies. After that, we will look for what to do. The most important thing is where is people's money. We don't want to change the topic. We don't want to make a thesis. We want something. That thing is our stolen money. We want to hold them accountable so that they give it back to us.
Lebanon's economic and financial meltdown is considered as one of the worst ones in modern history. 3/4 of the population has fallen into poverty, and the local currency has lost about 98% of its value.
To the European continent now, the Russian Defense Ministry has stated on Thursday that its forces have succeeded with an offensive in Ukraine's Donetsk region. The ministry spokesperson Igor Konchakov said that Ukraine had lost 4 Striker armed vehicles, and it is the first time that Russia has claimed to hit the US-supplied vehicles.
On the Donetsk axis, Russia's southern group units are working closely with Air Force and artillery, thwarted 4 assaults staged by the Ukrainian armed forces near the settlements of Zalezhnyansk, Staromikhailivka, and Krasnohorivka in the Donetsk People's Republic. Besides this, Russian assault units launched successful offensive operations and improved their frontline positions.
Ракетным ударом в районе разгрузки уничтожен воинский эшелон с боеприпасами.
On the other side, the Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba has affirmed that the goal of Kiev's counterattacks, which is launched since last June, is to liberate all of Ukraine's territories, regardless of how long it takes. Kuleba, during an interview with the IFP news agency, emphasized that Ukraine's goal is to liberate all territories within the border of 1991. The Russian Federal Security Services has announced that it prevented a terrorist act in the city of Zelenogorsk. The statement said that two supporters of the banned organization in Russia, Soviet citizens, were planning to blow up communication stations to prevent the sending of summons for consecrations. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky described on Wednesday the launch of the first cargo ship from the port of Odessa on the Black Sea, despite Russian threats, as an important step for freedom of maritime navigation of the coast of Ukraine. Zelensky said in a post on the X platform that Ukraine has taken an important step in restoring freedom of navigation in the Black Sea, noting that the ship followed the new Ukrainian humanitarian corridor from the port of Odessa.
Russia has carried out frequent air raids on Ukrainian ports and grain silos since mid-July and threatened to deal with every ship that leaves Ukraine as a possible military target. But a container ship left the port of Odessa on the Black Sea on Wednesday, despite Moscow's threats. It is an important step for the freedom of maritime navigation in Ukrainian coasts.
Chinese Defense Minister Li Shangfu visited Belarus on Thursday, where he had talks with the Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko. Mr. Li said his country would increase military cooperation with Belarus, and Belarus President expressed confidence that China and Belarus were on the same page on the main ideas on the current upcoming world order.
Strength is always respected. That's the way things are. Our policy is based on a strong economy and powerful diplomacy. I'm very grateful to you for your support in the area of military, technical and military cooperation. In this regard, we rely primarily on our friends, first of all, the Russian Federation and China.
To another matter now, China has urged Japan again to stop the ocean discharge of treated nuclear waste from the crippled Fukushima power plant. This comes as Japan moves ahead with its controversial plans to release treated nuclear waste into the sea in the next few weeks. The Japanese government decided in April 2021 to filter and dilute the nuclear contaminated water from Fukushima plant and discharge it into the sea from 2023.
China once again urges Japan to heed the legitimate concerns of the international community and its own citizens, and to halt its plan for discharging the nuclear contaminated water into sea. Japan should engage in open and sincere communication with neighboring countries, responsibly manage the radioactive water, and accept rigorous international supervision.
And now for more international news all over the world, let's follow this paper.
Large swaths of Indian northern Punjab state were flooded after heavy rain prompted the release of water from the Bahakara Dam on the Sutlej River and the Pong Dam on the Beas River. Hundreds of people living in the city of Gurdaspur were evacuated to safe location by rescue workers. Aerial footage captured the same day showed the scale of flooding in Himachal Pradesh, Kangara district, where a landslide triggered by torrential rain killed at least 70 people. Residents of La Esperanza on Tenerife watched as wildfire which broke out in the Montañas National Park on the Spanish island of the Atlantic left them under precautionary lockdown, while other municipalities had to be evacuated, leaving thousands temporarily homeless. The fire's perimeters expanded to 31 kilometers across dry woodland, covering both flanks of steep ravines near the Monte de Volcano, Spain's highest peak, hampering access to the area and covering much of the island with smoke clouds and ashes. Chaotic scenes unfolded at Germany's Frankfurt airport after severe flooding from heavy rainfall caused flight cancellations and delays. Video footage showed long snacking lines at the airport's departure area, with some travelers seated on the floor after the flooding caused some 70 flights to be cancelled. Severe weather warnings had been issued by a German weather service throughout the state of Hesse, with up to 60 liters per square meter with rainfall recorded in parts of the region in the evening. Canadian officials ordered the evacuation of the Northwest Territory capital of Yellowknife and several smaller communities as a massive wildfire threatened the town of Hay River overnight. So far, no deaths have been reported from the Yellowknife fire, but several structures have been destroyed. Yellowknife has a population of around 20,000 people and lies 400 kilometers south of the Arctic Circle. Canada is enduring its worst wildfire season, with more than 1,000 active fires burning across the country, including 230 in the Northwest Territories.
The 2023 World Robotics Conference opened in Beijing on Wednesday, showcasing cutting-edge achievements and the latest products from the robot industry. Around 600 of robots were present at the expo.
A bandmaster, a chef who can cook a hamburger, and even a waiter who can make an artisanal coffee. These humanoid robots are among a diverse array of around 600 others, which was exhibited at the 2023 World Robot Conference in Beijing. The expo gives a glimpse into the prospects for high-end technologies.
Our industrial robots can lift heavy objects, up to 100 kilograms, and can even seat a person. It has a high ingress protection rating, which means that it can work outside all the time, unaffected by rain or snow.
Humanoid robots are becoming ever more lifelike, with some showing they can act just as humans. Visitors of the exhibition could experience this when robots replicated many of the facial expressions.
When we see one person doing a facial expression, all robots will do the same. This can help us build robotic substitutes of humans. Robots can provide services for us remotely while reflecting real facial expressions and voices of humans.
That's not the end of the story. The Da Vinci surgical robot is another machine on display that allows surgeons to perform complex, minimally invasive surgical procedures with precision and accuracy.
Robots are better at fine-tuning, minimally invasive and more accurate, and they cause less damage to patients. Through some operations of the robotic arms, we can avoid the unnecessary shaking of doctors' hands, bring a wider and clearer field of vision for surgeries, which can actually reduce wounds to patients and allow for faster recovery.
Beijing's World Robotics Conference opened on Wednesday. The Chinese capital is setting up $1.4 billion fund to promote robotics technology development. The fund is part of a plan to become the industry's international industrial highland. China is expected to become a global hub for robotics by 2025.
This is just a picture of the future. With this, we reach the end of our news bulletin. Thank you so much. Good night.